Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Automation Expert Training. I'm your host, Leandro Mada, and in this video what we're gonna see is how we can add our Modicon M251dPAC in our solution. So let's go to the presentation. So this part, what I'm going to show you is how we can add this controller or any controller inside our architecture so we can use it in our application. So let's go to the application first so we can recap on what we have so far. So we have our solution. We have already added our cuts for conveyor and the valve. We have created or added some of the basic functions and adapters that are going to be used on the cut. As we saw before, the cut has also an interface, graphical interface, that will allow us to access to the data of each part of the component of the machine. So that is what we have done so far. Once we create this solution, okay, if we go to System, we should be able to see APP1 and then this Eco Runtime. Okay, so this API is where we can develop an application, okay, and then what we need to do is to link that to a physical device, because this language, the AC 61499, works in a different way compared with Machine Expert or Control Expert or any other of the software of the PLCs. Those PLC softwares are, you need to predefine hardware, okay, and the software will be for that hardware, okay. It doesn't give you any kind of flexibility to change between different components. For example, you cannot easily change from the M3.8 to M251. You need to make some kind of modifications, start from scratch and see the logic. Here it works different because you can create your own logic, and then you need to define which device is going to execute which part of the logic, okay. So in order to understand that part, I'm going to show you how we can add the controller in here. So one of the important things here is the access that we have over here to open the system file. The system file is this one. So we have a few icons over here, but let's understand what they are. So we have applications, layers, physical devices, logical devices, okay, and function blocks. So these physical devices and logical devices are the thing that allow us to separate the logic from the device, okay. So what we need to do now is try to link the logic that we're going to use with a specific device. So in the physical devices, we should be able to see all this list of devices that allow us to create our architecture of what we are going to have. So in this case, what we need to do is to add the dPAC, Distributed Automation Controller. I'm going to use the M251dPAC. So drag and drop it so you can see the device over here. If you have different devices, you can drag and drop it over here. Okay, so here what we have done is to define what are we going to have in our sorting line. It's going to be this M251dPAC. So if we right click over here, at this time there is nothing to check because we haven't activated the monitoring. This part, what I'm going to do is just create the device over here in the physical devices, make modification, and that's it, okay. Then I'm going to explain you further what these icons means, okay. So if we go to properties here, we should be able to see different configuration for the device, okay. Let's go to the presentation once again. I don't want to forget about anything. So in order to add M251dPAC, we just need to go to the system and then go to physical devices. Once you are in the physical devices, we are able to see, just put the pen, the list of all the hardware that we can use here just to create our architecture. Just drag and drop the M251dPAC, and then when you click on the M251dPAC, okay, open solution is done. We should be able to make some modifications of what we want for this device. Okay, so if we go to properties, you have the name, which is this one over here, and as you saw on the video about how we can connect to the controller and change the Ethernet IP of the M251, okay, I changed that friendly name that appears over there to this one, to my PLC. So we can change this name to my PLC, so then later it will match. So if we go back to here and change this, my PLC, it changed over here. Okay, if we assign this is to show IP address and the name. So what we're going to do now is to add the configuration of the Ethernet network that we have in this device. So let's go to the presentation just to show you. Okay, so as you can see, there are different things here to touch. When you select this no conf, it will open this window, and you have the managed logical network, or you have the default network. By default, the system creates just this standard default network, and we can change it in case we want it. So in here, what we need is to define the name of the network, the subnet mask, the subnet address, and the gateway, and that's it. So let's try to replicate this. So what we want for the M251dPAC, as we already seen on the configuration of the Ethernet port, we're going to try to match this configuration over here, that I have the 1.51 for the Ethernet port 1, and the Ethernet port 2 is 2.51. Okay, so this is the configuration that we need. Subnet address, this, and the subnet address on this one is the number 2. Okay, and then you should be able to see the IP address over here. Okay, so let's try to make this happen. Okay, so here, click manage logical, going to add 2 networks. So this one's going to be ETH number 1. I don't remember the name that I assigned for this, just bear with me. Network 1 and network 2. Okay, very additional. Okay, network 1. So the subnet mask is correct, the subnet address is not correct, should be 1. Gateway, I'm just going to do in 0. Okay, and that's it. Now I'm going to add the second network, network 2, 255, 2, and 0, oops, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and there we go. So I have configured the ranges of the networks that I want. Now what I need to do is to select the network 1 for the Ethernet port 1, these 2, and this one over here for the second one. As you can see, it automatically assigns an IP address, but it's not the one that I want, so I'm going to change it. 51. Okay, so you can see now that I have the different IP address already set over here. Okay, so now I'm going to save it. This can be done so we can download this configuration to the controller, but this part is already done. This part for the connection that we have done with the device maintenance, that we have assigned a new IP address. Okay, but this will be covered later when we need to change the security. So I'm going to leave it at this. So on the physical devices, we just add the PLC and change the friendly name, or what we have in here, the name of the PLC. Okay, which is my PLC. Now, we already defined the hardware. What we need to do now is to define the logical device. So if we go to logical device, we have this soft dPAC. Okay, what we can do is to add a new device. Okay, change, for example, my M251 dPAC. Okay, and here we just need to select the M251 dPAC controller. As you can see, it will add a dPAC device. Here, oops, didn't want to go there. Here, we can link this logical device to a physical device. This is what I meant before, that the logical and the hardware part is not linked as we have, for example, Machine Expert or Control Expert, that we have a fixed device and we cannot change between them. Here, we have the possibility. So as you can see here, I can select from the list the physical device that I have. And here it doesn't, because I haven't created a runtime. Here I have one M251 dPAC, so I can link it to it. Okay, the only thing that I need to do is to add another one physical devices. Okay, for example, workstation. Don't remember if this one would be save. No, logical station. No, just bear with me a second. Server. I don't remember this part, but no problem. This is not what I wanted to show you for this part. Activity part is not in there, but no problem. So the idea is to add, for example, another device, another controller. For example, I have a M251 M580 over here, and I have another M251. So what I can do on the logical part is to add devices, M251 dPAC. Okay, select the device that I want, and that's it. Okay, and in case I don't want to use this, okay, or I don't want to use this one, I just change the device type, M251, yes, and then here it will appear the other M251 dPAC that I have added. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. So in this case, for example, I don't want to use this one, I'm going to delete it. Okay, and here I don't want to use this one, I'm going to use another PLC. You change the physical device, and then I will add the M251 dPAC over here. Okay, so this is what I want to show. I can have different devices over here. And then here, if I want to set, delete it, and assign the new one, I can easily change that part. Now, if you take a look over here, it will add the different devices. As soon as I save this, say all, you should be able to see that I have the device and resource. Okay, device and the resource, and the device and resource. Later we're gonna see this in detail, what it means. At the moment, what I want you to do is to add a logical device and link it physically with the PLC that we want over here. Physical devices over here. Okay, this is what I want you to do on your side. So let me just save this part and see if there's something I'm missing. Okay, we have already seen this part. We already seen that how we can add the logical device, how to add it. Okay. This part, there is a column here called info that we can configure some of the logical ports to use. So in case we want to connect with our computer to a specific place, these are the logical ports that we need to enable. Okay, if we go back here, over here, info, you have this, oh my bad, just bear with me. just here. So this. So if we click over here, we should be able to find the logical port, okay, and then we should be able to configure, okay, and that's another thing I need to show you later. But this is the logical port that we need to unlock on the router or something specific if you're using on the network in order to enable the transmission of information. So let me just double check. At the moment, this part, no, I'm not going to go in detail right now. So let's see what else is missing. Create a new device, okay. Link to the physical device that we already use. Perfect. So what I wanted to show in this is how we can add a new device in our configuration and how we can link this physical device that we have created over here to a logical device, because this logical device is the one that is created over here, okay, and is the one that inside the resources is going to execute our code, okay, so we can move the code from one side to the other, okay. So basically that's it. So this is it for how we can add M251dPAC for our sorting line using the EcoStruxure Automation Expert. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you on the next one.